Hey, what's going on? Alim here, and in this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to set up user notifications using FlutterFlow and Buildship. So when a new user creates an account for your application, you get a notification in a messaging app like Discord or anywhere else that you want to get a notification. This is an exhilarating feeling when somebody who signs up for your app triggers a notification, and you can get that somewhere where you live real time. Because when you launch your app into newsletters or communities or running paid advertising or whatever have you, you want to know when new users sign up. So this is an awesome way to get that feeling of real-time satisfaction. So we're going to use Buildship as our backend. Typically, when I do this with previous startups that I've built, I used to hand code this using Node.js, and I would spin up a REST API server and integrate all this by hand. But now with Buildship, we are able to actually create these automations in a Zapier style format while maintaining the flexibility of writing our own REST APIs. So let's jump right into it. What you see here is an application that I've already built called the AI Chef. And I have a create account feature already implemented. So when I tap on create account and I open my action builder, you'll notice that I've already implemented my authentication and I have a create account action. And then on successfully creating an account, I'm navigating to a onboarding screen. However, what we need to do here is actually trigger a notification to Discord using a custom REST API. So let me show you how we're going to do that first by heading over to Buildship. Okay. So in order to understand exactly how, a tool like Buildship works, I recommend that you go back and watch my initial video on introduction to Buildship and APIs, because without understanding the fundamentals of APIs, you won't be able to be successful here in Buildship. So essentially what we're doing is we're creating an API. Okay, so we're going to add a trigger. And the trigger that we want is a REST API call, because from our front end, we're going to be triggering a REST API call to a custom REST API that we are writing ourselves. So I'm going to add that trigger, and I'm going to say the path is /new_user notification. Okay. And I'm going to set this method to post because we are going to take in some input from the user. So we're going to take in that new user data, like the email address, and then we're going to use that data, send it to Discord using the Discord API, and trigger a message. So since we're doing some manipulations on the back end, that would consider this a post method. And again, if this is sounding like gibberish, go back and watch my introduction to APIs video in a previous phase where I talk about APIs. Okay, cool. Post, and for now, we'll just keep the status code 200, and that's all we want to do. Go ahead and ship this, because the next step is to ensure that we can successfully connect to this REST API. And while I'm at it, I'm going to hit settings and I'm going to change this to new user notification. And I'll set the description to this API is triggered when a new user signs up for our application. Okay, boom, and I'm going to hit save. All right. I'll tap ship again just to make sure that things went well and we have successfully shipped this workflow. The next step is to head back to FlutterFlow. And what we want to do now is add an action in between create account and then whatever you do next. And this one is going to be API call. Tap on API call, and we don't actually have an API set up just yet. So what we're going to want to do next is actually go and create that API. So using the API calls menu here, we're going to hit add. We'll hit create API call and we'll say new user notification. The method type is post because that's what we set up in Buildship, and we are going to paste that endpoint URL that we just got from Buildship. All right, I'm going to tap on add call just to make sure it's saved, and I'm going to go ahead and test that API response to make sure that we have a status 200. And it looks like we do. I'm getting back some response data because I think I may have forgot to clear this out from some previous work that I was doing. So I'll clear that out now, and I'll hit ship again. Awesome. So this concept of constantly testing after you make changes is called iterative development. And I highly encourage all of y'all to have the exact same technique, because if you go too far, make too many changes, and something breaks, you won't know exactly what step caused the break. So do things small, frequently, and often. Okay. Cool. So now let's go back to FlutterFlow, test that one more time, and we should get a null response, which is fantastic. And now the next step is pretty simple from here. We have to set up our Buildship API to send a notification to Discord. Okay, so I'm using Discord as my place where I want to send the notification. So right now, since Ambitious Labs, we own our Discord, you have to ask your coach to set up a webhook for you. If you want your notification to come directly into your one-on-one chat, let us know. We're going to set up your webhook for your one-on-one chat. Or if you want us to create another private chat where it's not mixed, just let us know what you want to do. Or if you want to create your own Discord server and do it there, that's fine as well. But it would be awesome for us to get an understanding of how your app is doing as well. We'd love to celebrate with you. So that being said, just give us a heads up on what you want us to do. If you want us to create your webhook, just let us know. We're then going to come in to your channel, and I'm going to say Alim test. I'm going to create this channel just for sake of testing. I'm going to create a webhook for myself. And if you were going to do this on your own Discord, you could do it just like this. Go to a channel, click integrations, tap on create webhook, and that just created you a webhook. This one's called Captain Hook, and all you have to do is copy the webhook URL, and that gives you an endpoint. So if you notice I paste it here in my URL bar, that just gives you an endpoint because we're actually making another API call to the Discord API. So I hope now you can see how this whole general concept of endpoints allows you to integrate with many different services. So this Discord endpoint allows us to integrate directly with Discord, and all we have to do now is add a new node here in Buildship, search for Discord, and Discord has one right here, Discord webhook bot. Send a message to a Discord channel using a webhook. We hit add, and it's very simple from here. We just paste that webhook URL that we got, and then the content is going to be a message like a new user signed up for your application. Okay, we'll hit exclamation point, and now I'm going to go ahead and ship. All right, we'll let this ship. And honestly, we should have this working. Now we go back to FlutterFlow, hit test API call. I'm going to tap it a couple more times just to see what it does. And then if I go back to Discord, boom, 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 I got these notifications. And so every time I hit test API call, it's actually sending some data to Discord. So notice how easy this was. Literally within minutes, we've integrated the Discord API. All right. And that also is a fully decoupled service. So now I can make any changes to the backend here in Buildship, and I don't have to ship another version of my iPhone app or my iOS app. So this is, or my Android app. That's a huge, huge, huge capability that we just unlocked. But now say we want to take this one step further and we want to actually send the email address of the user who signed up for our app. Well, that means we need to configure variables. So back at our API call in FlutterFlow, we need to set up a variable called like email underscore, let's just say email. And that type is going to be string because it's, letters and numbers. We'll say isList is false and we'll hit save. All right. So now our API call at the FlutterFlow side is set to take in a variable, but we need to also send that variable in the body. So we'll go to body, hit JSON, and what we'll do is we'll say quote email, colon, another quote, and we'll take this email and drag it in between those quotes and hit save. Then at response and test, we should be able to include a variable email, and I'm going to just test this at test@gmail.com. Hit test API call just to make sure everything is okay. We'll make sure we hit save here, and we have set up the ability to send an email from FlutterFlow. But Buildship is not ready to accept that email. So we need to actually configure some variables here at the Buildship side of things. So I'm going to click on the three-dot menu at the REST API call level. I'm going to tap on params, hit plus to accept a new param, and we're going to call this one email. And we're going to say email address of user creating an account. Okay, and we're going to hit save. All right. So now we are able to accept that input. Let me just make sure it worked. Okay, cool. New input. save. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm not sure why, but anyways, we will go to Discord webhook, and now we're going to edit the content of this to actually include the email address. So we'll say email address : and then we'll say variables request body. Okay, request body. But the thing is, the body is going to include that entire object that we're sending, because back here at FlutterFlow, we are sending an entire body. We want to only pick out the email field of this body, right? And so we will say xbody.email, okay? And I'll hit ship and let's test this. All right. We'll come back to FlutterFlow. We're going to test with test@gmail.com. Hit test API call a few times. We'll go back to Discord and boom, we have the email address showing up now too. So that's awesome. We are making such fast progress. And then the next step is to wire this into our application so that it actually works when a new user signs up. Okay, so we'll go back to our widget. We will find that create account widget. We'll look for the action flow editor. We'll hit open, and then we'll go to that unfinished API call we had. And now we're going to hit that API call name, set that to new user notification, right? Then hit set additional variable, update the email, and set this value to widget state email field. So this will be the email that a user types in. As you know, we're going to look for the widget state to be updated with the email field. And boom. Now let's hit close. We've resolved all of our errors because that API was half done, so it was giving us an error. We can come back to test mode, hit instant reload, and let's see if we can get this to trigger from our application itself as if we were a user. Awesome. So our app is finished loading. We'll hit get started. Let's go to create account. And I'm going to say, Alim test. And I'll put the date. I'll say 8/14 at test.com. I'll say Alim123 and hit create account. So I used Alim test 8/14 at test.com and I successfully created my account. Let's head back to Discord. And boom, we got it. Alim test 814 at test.com. So now when a new user creates an account on our application, we've successfully used Buildship to trigger a notification directly to Discord. This is absolutely huge, and I know this is going to get very exciting long term. When we launch our apps, we get our first users, and we're just being bombarded with these notifications. The next great problem to have is going to be when you have so many users that these just become annoying. And that part will come. During my days building SeasonShare and PrizePicks, the early days were really, really fun when we saw a notification for pretty much everything going on in our app. But then over time, it becomes very boring and you just want to end it until you actually remove the integration. So I hope that all of y'all get to that one point where it becomes so normal to just get new users all the time that you want to turn these off. But in the interim, this is an exhilarating feeling. It's no feeling like it when you ship your app and you get those first users and these notifications are hitting. So this is how you would use Buildship to create your own API fully decoupled, and without even needing to mention, over time you can also do more interesting stuff too directly from Buildship, like send emails, send SMS, etc., which we'll cover in future lessons. All right, take care. I hope you enjoyed this one.